Hello everybody, I'm sitting down to do my Techo Kaigi finally for the year. So my Techo planner Kaigi meeting with myself, and you're invited to go through all the journals and planners and things that I used this year. Do a sort of review, how they worked, what didn't work, and how I'm feeling about next year. Now I've got quite a lot to say, quite a lot of things to go through, so I'm probably going to break this up into 3 videos maybe, I'm not sure. I'm not going to find out until I come to edit and I realise how much footage I've got. But I figured starting in a chronological order, I'm going to go through what I used this year. And it's kind of in 2 sections. So there's the ones I started out with, and then there's a few little things I added in as I went along. So I'm going to do those afterwards, and we'll start with what I started with. So I mean, I did start fairly small, as in I didn't have too many planners, I don't think. I really don't know how to start, really. I guess I'll start with the basic everyday carry, which is my Hobonichi weeks. So let's pop these to the side. So I suppose when I'm thinking about what planners I'm going to do and what notebooks I'm going to need for the year, I always start off with the practical one, the main one, which I write down all appointments, all events, working times, paydays, all the sort of like everyday life stuff, things to do with my son's schools, all the stuff that I have to keep track of in order to sort of function as an adult in this society without dropping all the balls that I'm juggling. So that's the place I start with. What's going to I need to have it all written down somewhere so that I can try really hard not to forget things and make sure I know what I'm doing. So I went with the Hobonichi weeks again this year, and it's been the one that I think I've used this for about 3 years running now. It's a really nice size, really portable, and it's worked well so far until now for me as a little planner. Then I have things, I sort of have a planner for my creative work, and I ended up using one from last year that I kind of brought through to this year, and it didn't really work very well. So there's that one that says oshigoto, which is work in Japanese, on there. So I'm going to go through all of these in like sort of detail, not very heavy detail, but some detail in a minute. And then I have a Hobonichi cousin, and it's kind of like the space for me, for my things, my thoughts, my random things that I just want to write down on paper. Sort of like a comfort book. It's kind of the place where I can if I just need to write something down, or I just want to sort of explore something, I can do it in here. But this kind of got merged into work slightly, which I'll talk about. These two kind of this kind of took over the function of this one in the end. So they go together. Then I have memory keeping. So I have been doing memory keeping in Traveller's Notebook. So they come in the half year. So this is the first half of the year, and that's the second half of the year. So that's where I was sticking photos down and trying to sort of preserve memories by, putting ephemera in, things like that. So that's my memory keeping. And then this was the trip to Japan. Traveling to Japan, I couldn't obviously take all of these because it'd be too heavy in my hand luggage, because I'm never putting my journals in the hold or like risking them getting lost in a suitcase. They have to stay with me at all times. So obviously I didn't want to take all of this with me. So when I travelled to Japan, I just took a small traveller's notebook, and that was the insert for that. So if I go through them one by one in detail, just to show what worked, what didn't work, and kind of how I'm feeling about it, basically. So as I said, the Hobonichi Weeks is the one I use lots. I've used it for many years, and it's all reliable. It's familiar. I know what I'm doing with it. And I should stop waving it around, probably. It's got a bit of a glare on it. I feel sort of comfortable in here. I know where things are. I decorate it minimally. I only put like a few stickers in at the beginning just to sort of set it up for me, to make it feel like it was home. And it's mostly practical, so there's not much stickering going on in here. There's no decoration. I'm certainly not drawing or painting in here. It's just the basic practicality of it. Now, I didn't really use the monthly pages. I used to use the monthly pages, but for some reason this year, I just completely ignored them. So there are, at the beginning of the year, there were a few pages where I had like a few bits on, maybe like up till March, February, March time. But generally, I don't really look at them. And I don't know why. And it might be because I had a monthly calendar in here. Or maybe it's because I'm just not thinking about things in terms of a month. I mean, to be honest, I should sit down every morning and open this up and be like, okay, that's what I've got to do today. That's what I've got to do this week. I don't manage it every morning. I barely manage it weekly. So I suppose it's just the way my brain pays attention to things. It doesn't sort of feel the need to check in on the month as a whole. The only time I need to think about the month as a whole and like scheduling within a month is when I'm doing my Patreon work, because that's a monthly subscription. Whereas for daily life, I don't tend to look at the months basically. So those pages were not really very used. The weekly pages were very basic. It was just birthdays, random events, and I did use this side for to-do lists, things I needed to do. Sometimes I just wrote them down from the top. Sometimes I wrote them on the day that I wanted to get them done, but I very rarely get everything done when I think I'm going to do it. So there's a lot of going back through previous pages and ticking things off from weeks ago. But I do just write it down the week that I think of the thing that I need to get done. Might not necessarily get it done then. What else is there to show you? It's just another example of a week. So this is this week? Next week. So yeah, I'm not really using it all that much, to be honest. And I'm not paying much attention to it, which it's probably not a good thing. I need to be better at that. In terms of the back pages, I did set them all up to be used for specific things, but I barely look at them. I'm just not, I don't know, organised enough, I think. The one thing I do use this for, and probably the main thing that I always make sure I come in here for, is I write down everything I spend. So all the money I spend, what I spend it on, I categorise it, I budget, I make sure I'm not going to go over my, I'm not going to spend too much money. So I have got that all written down, and I've always done that, and that's something I definitely need to keep doing. But I've actually moved, apart from this, I've actually moved all of my sort of budgeting and saving schedules and all that kind of stuff into a different place. So again, apart from occasionally looking in here to go, oh my God, what am I supposed to do this week, and writing out my finances, I'm not in this. I'm not loving it. Which is a shame, because it is like lovely and I love the size of it. And it occurred to me that I would love it if Hobonichi made some notebooks that were just this size. Because I love the covers, I love the format, I like the paper. I'm saying like rather than love because, we know we have troubles with papers and things like that. It can be gorgeous, but also it can be irritating. This is like the perfect handbag size, the perfect size to throw in your bag and carry around with you. So I'm going to miss it because I'm thinking I might not use it for next year, and I'll explain this later on. But I have them all lined up on my shelf, and 2024 will slot in, and then I'm thinking there might not be a 2025 one, and I feel a bit sad about it. But I'm not using it. I'm not really taking it with me. So having said it's really portable, I'm not actually taking it out with me most of the time. I think I took it out to the dentist once, just because I knew they were going to ask me to make another appointment. But otherwise, I just don't take it out with me, ever. So, but I've enjoyed using it, and I'm glad I had it this year because obviously I needed somewhere to put all of the dates and the appointments down. So yeah, feeling a little bit sort of bittersweet about the weeks this year. So I'm just going to move that one to the side. So in terms of scheduling for my creative work, so I have a day job, which I don't have a planner for because I just turn up to work and everything's at work and I just get on with it. And when I leave work, that's it. I don't think about it, which is really nice. So I don't have a schedule for like day job work, but I do need to have some sort of thing to keep me on track with my Patreon work. as much as I can keep myself on track with anything. I'm so bad at it. But anyway, so I used to have a separate sort of work notebook, a creative work notebook. And this is actually when I set it in 2023, I think. Might have even been earlier. And because I'd only used a small bit of it, I came back to it this year and thought I'd carry on with it. I think, yeah, it looks like I started in September 2023. And I haven't really used it. So I can just show you now. I used to use it like this. I'd put a monthly schedule in, all the things I need to do in the month, and then I'd write down what I get done, even if it was just in panic planning on the 21st of November. I don't know what that means. Christmas drawing on the 22nd, extreme writing, and I got a hand cramp on the 23rd. Sometimes I just write down what I've done towards my creative projects that day. If I do a YouTube video, I'll put that on, and it's sort of, it's this is the occasion where a monthly calendar works for me, because I know I've got things I need to do within the month, and I have to keep looking at it so that I get a sense of how fast time is passing, because I don't have a very good sense of how fast time is passing. So suddenly it'll be the last week of the month and I'm like, oh, I thought I had more time. So if I get in the habit of looking at the monthly thing, I can try and make sure I'm not leaving Patreon past the deadline. It is basically last minute most of the time for me, but at least I know that I've got this place that I can look and remind myself, better get on with it. So that's what I used to put in here. And then it would be things like just notes about ideas, calendar ideas I had, product ideas, things like that. A little bit of drawing, because I mean the reason I chose this book is because it is Midori paper and it's very nice to draw on. It's particularly nice with pencil. So I chose the format that looks like this. I can't remember what format it is now. Does it say? Frame. It's called a frame. So it's quite nice because you can write the subject and you can write the date at the top, and then you can, you do writing or drawing or whatever on here, and it is nice paper. But I have quite a bit of paper left, and I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with that. I don't know whether to pull it out and do book surgery because it's such nice paper. I'm not sure, but I am going to be finishing this book this year and just saying that's that. I'm not doing any more in it because I actually ended up doing my work scheduling in my cousin. So as I said, this cousin was a place for me. It's like if I have a tiny little scheduler like this, I need to have a place that has like a big space where I can come when I just want to use, I don't know how many pages. Now, I didn't pay much attention to the dates in here because obviously this is dated, it's the cousin. But if I wanted to write something, I would just come along. And if the day was empty and I hadn't written on today yet, I would just use today's. But I would also just go back and use any odd random page. But it was just really good to feel like I had this sort of large space that I could work in and not feel sort of constricted, which I don't like. I like to have like a big expansive page when I'm just offloading thoughts or I'm exploring an idea or whatever. So I set this up, a few little stickers, not many. I don't know why that's there. I tend to just, if it's something to do this year that I've done this year, so that's a drawing of mine, I'll just shove it in there. And then when I come to archive the book, I'll probably just glue it in on a random page. But I kind of like to keep things connected to the year. So if I did that this year, I'll shove it in here and then at some point I'll stick it in the book. So I just set it up. Don't use those pages. I do use this page for like the index. So this is where I write down what is on each page. So some of it is just writing, which will be journaling. Some of it's mourning, some of it's just random stuff. So as an example, the kind of things I have in here, YouTube videos to make, Cass Art shopping list, Jackson's shopping list. I was comparing prices of paints, Japan trip thoughts, National Trails list, RPG games that look good. It's just random stuff, basically, that I just want to do on the page. Course, tutorial ideas, latest career thoughts, money life review, and then some writing. Now, as you can see, there's lots of blank pages. I would say there's more blank pages than filled in here. And I'm okay with it because, as I said, just knowing that the pages are there for me as a sort of little support system is really valuable to me. So I don't feel guilt that there's blank pages. I feel like I appreciate that they're there, because if I need the space and I need to write something in, I know I've got these blank pages. Does that make sense? So even if I don't use them, it's just nice knowing that they're there, basically. So yeah, I was really happy using the Cousin this year, and it was the one book that I felt comfort in. So if I'm like, oh, I just need to write something, or I just need to do something, I knew that I had this, and this would be the one that I came to first. This is like sort of goals for the year, but not really, just things I wanted to do a bit more of this year. And as I said, I used the monthly pages to do sort of creative planning. So I'd write down what I needed to do in the month and then write down what I did. And I really, really, really love the Cousin monthly page. It's like the perfect monthly page. The boxes are nice and big, the paper's nice. It's just the perfect monthly spread for me. I love it, and I wish... What do I wish? I don't know what I wish. I wish that the perfect planner existed, but it doesn't. Because as you may guess, I'm thinking of not using the Cousin next year. I don't know. I feel like I'm making changes for next year that I'm still quite nervous about, but I feel like I ought to try. But I'm still nervous about them. You know, not having a Weeks and not having a Cousin is quite a big change for me. But so this is this month, and I haven't been using it that much this month, but it's just nice knowing it's here. It's the best monthly spread. I don't really know what else to say about this. Hardly used the vertical weeks, because I just felt they were sort of, well, I've got that, and then I've got these pages. And since I'm not using it as a planner, like scheduling out my day, I couldn't really find a use for these. I tried at the beginning to do things. Sometimes I did to-do lists, sometimes I did like morning thoughts and wishes and things like that, but mostly they're blank, which I think is quite common for a lot of Cousin users. I feel like they're the hardest. I see a lot of people doing videos and they say that they don't know what to do with their weekly pages. But yeah, so that is how I use the Cousin this year. Okay, and the next thing I was going to talk through was my, sorry about all the erming. It's very hard for me to get my thoughts in order, and then obviously when it comes out of my mouth, there's a lot of sort of umming and ahhing, umming and ahhing. What am I saying? Yes, so these are the memory keepers. So I have shared a video. I did like a massive One Book July video series showing this and how I sort of caught up in it, because I didn't fill it in every week on that week. So there's a lot of backfilling going on in here, and the same with the second half of the year. So I'm not going to show you every page, but just as a sort of a demonstration, this book has ephemera, it has stickers, it has drawings, it has photos. Yeah, just any old random stuff basically goes in here. And it's really fun because it's just nice to have a place where I can just stick stuff down and not sort of stress about it. It doesn't have to look amazing, and it is good to have a place where I am actually attempting to memory keep, because in all honesty, I'm not that good at it. It's not that I don't enjoy it, it's a huge effort for me. I don't know why, to write down what I did. Today we went to this and we did that and the other. I don't know why I struggle with it. But if I'm sort of mixing it up with collage and paint and stuff, I feel like I'm doing it for future me and for my son if he wants to look at these when he's older. It's a bit like going to the gym and eating healthy. At the time, you're like, oh God, do I have to? What an effort, what a faff. But once you do it, you're like, I'm glad I did that, and there is a benefit to it. And I feel like, for me, memory keeping is a bit like that. I do want to have these things to look back on, so therefore I have to make the effort now to do it, essentially. So I'm making the effort, and it has been really fun, and I absolutely recommend this format because it doesn't take too long to fill up a week. And if you were, a person that was good at being consistent and you were able to sit down every Sunday or the following weekend and fill out your week, It's really, really good size, I think. It's kind of low pressure. So yes, I recommend it. And that's about it really to show you, because then obviously this one, I'm not going to show you the insides because it's all travel information, travel documents. It's not exciting. I didn't do much collage or anything in there. It's just, there's a few bits of ephemera stapled in. I did a monthly calendar at the front, so that I had like a schedule, because we had lots of like play dates and appointments and places to go and things to do. So that is that one. And then the next thing to go through are some other little random things I added in as the year went on. So these came with me from the beginning. This was my system set up from the beginning of the year. But then I did sort of succumb to these purchases throughout the year. So this one is the cutest little, what do they call it? A mini 5, micro 5? I'm not sure. This is an Ashford, and it's leather, and it's a Japanese brand, and I got this in Japan, and I got it second hand. I actually don't know if it was second hand or whether it was a display. I feel like it might have been a display in a shop. I don't know why I think that. I just feel like it was. Because it doesn't look used, but it does look a little bit sort of faded. Does that make sense? But it's gorgeous. It's so cute. And I got this, and I just wanted to try having it as something that I would just throw in my bag with a very, very small focused to-do list on. Because as much as I love the Hobonichi weeks, like I said, I wasn't really carrying it around with me, and sometimes I find all these books quite overwhelming, which doesn't make sense, because I love the books, and I get the books, and I enjoy setting them up, and I love doing them. But then sometimes I think, I don't know what I'm doing where, I don't know what I'm putting where, what am I doing? And I get like a bit sort of overwhelmed with all the different places that I could potentially write stuff or look for stuff. So I thought this would be quite useful. Just all it has in it is to-do lists. It's just, I filled it full of like various papers that I got when I was in Japan, picked up a few different brands, Ashford ones. I actually got did I get a little calendar? Because I thought maybe I would use that, and I didn't. Can't remember now. Anyway, various papers, and I just thought I'll just use it as a to-do list, because sometimes when I get very overwhelmed with everything, I just need to just have a to-do list so that I know things are not going to go completely to pot if I just make sure I get these things done. And it's been really cute, really helpful, and I don't use it every day. It sits by the breakfast kitchen dining table area, and if I'm feeling like, oh God, I'm getting all stressed, I'll do a massive brain dump somewhere, and then I'll pull out the things I need to focus on. I'll put them in here. That goes away. Oops. And I just take this with me, and I feel sort of like, as long as I do these things, everything's going to be okay. So I'm definitely going to take this through to next year, because it's just so flipping cute. And I love the fact that this pen fits perfectly, because one of the beauteous things about the Ashford pen loop is that you can change it, so you can make it really chunky, or you can sort of scoot, like there's a bit behind that's going in and out. You can't feel it because it's inside the leather, but it's basically adjustable. So I just adjust it to the size of this pen, and it's just perfect. So that's my cute little friend that's coming with me into next year. I then also got this one. This one, again, I got second hand, but no, it wasn't second hand. It was from W.H. Smith on eBay. So I think it is old shop stock that wasn't selling. And it's, again, gorgeous. And this was, I think what it was is when I went to Japan in the summer, the sort of stationery community there, and all the online YouTube Japanese people that make their little stationery videos, they do seem to use rings a lot more. or maybe I was just watching those videos, I don't know. And I think I got into like watching so many little rings videos that I sort of got a bit like inspired. And these were both birthday presents to myself. And this one, I think I just wanted it because it's kind of comforting. It's like a comforting blanket, sort of, I don't know. It just reminds me of being cozy for some strange reason. So this one is a Holborn, a pocket size. And in here, I decided this is just going to be my little hobbies tracker type thing. So I don't have, apart from obviously drawing, I don't have any particularly elaborate hobbies. I do like to sew and things like that, and do random things occasionally. But I do like a few computer games, mostly Minecraft, Animal Crossing. And I did used to play Skyrim, but I haven't done it recently because it's quite grim and dark, and I don't know, you have to be in the mood for it. So, but Minecraft I love, and Animal Crossing. So I thought I would just keep notes in here for that. So I have like really practical notes, like locations of buildings. I'm working on making a village nice, so I'm sort of going through one by one and doing up the village. If you play Minecraft, you'll understand what I'm talking about. Otherwise, just ignore me. And then Animal Crossing, my island. I'm trying to make it all fancy. I haven't played it for ages, to be honest. But I just like the idea that this information is in here. It has its place. And then when I want to come here and use it, I can get it. So this sits by the television. And I really like this. So this is coming with me next year. And then finally, this is a sort of a semi-fail. I got this notebook because it's just the most ridiculously cute cover. So I bought this notebook in, when did I buy it? In June, because I was sort of thinking like what planners had I missed so far this year? And I had really missed having an A6 Hobonichi. Don't know why. Clearly I get overwhelmed with having lots of planners, and yet here I am craving an A6 Hobonichi. So I thought, well, okay, what I'll do is I'll buy an A6 notebook and I'll use it and see how I feel. And then by the end of the year, I'll know whether I want to have a dated one for next year. It didn't really work because I still don't know. I used this. I wrote I was trying to like do it as like a daily diary. So I wrote down like what we did that day or whatever. Again, not my favourite thing to do. I cannot think why. I don't know. I get such a kick out of writing random thoughts and rambly thoughts and ideas and things that I think about, and why don't I do this and what about that and I wonder why, and I really hate, and it is quite painful to sit down and go, this morning I did, then we went to and I don't know why that is, but I was thinking to myself, when I'm older, maybe I'm going to want to look back and read it. I have no idea, honestly, but as you can see, it didn't go very far. I used it that much and I've got this much left. And now I'm like, oh, because you know when you start a new notebook and you start it with a purpose and then you decide you're not going to use it for that purpose anymore. And then you think, well, I've ruined it now. What am I going to use the rest of the pages for? So I haven't decided what to use the rest of the pages for, but I do want to because I love these gorgeous kitties sneaking around the corner. It's just the cutest thing ever. So yeah, that was kind of a semi-fail. So I don't know what to do about that one. I'm putting my hands up and saying that I'm completely clueless. So that is what happened to me in 2024. And it's quite funny because I know I did a video, God knows how long, 2 years ago? Like how to decide what planners you want. And it all sounded very sensible. And it is sensible advice. And it does make sense. But I just want you to know that even though I did that video and it does help, sort of helps me make my decisions, it still clearly doesn't make my decisions flawless and perfect because I still feel very sort of mixed about what I'm going to do next year and I'm really not sure. So I'm probably going to leave this video here because I think I've gone on for so long. I do apologise. But this is basically my review and it's really helping me actually to sit down and talk through it. This is my review of the planners I used in 2024. And the next video I'm going to make is going to be my plans so far for 2025. So I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. I kind of feel like I want to apologise because I'm sort of, the way I'm talking today feels very sort of like scatty and not very focused. So thank you very much if you got to the end of the video, and I will see you soon. Bye.